This is your math gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic. In this video, we're going to learn how to solve a multiple angle trig equation. So we're going to do this one. 2 cosine of 2x plus square root of 3 equals 0. It's called a multiple angle because notice you're taking the cosine of 2x. It's just not x or theta or a, but 2x. So we're going to do two things. First, we're going to solve this and find all the values of x given in degrees, and then we're going to find all the values of x in the interval 0 to 360 degrees. All right, the key to doing these problems is to solve as usual, and don't worry about what's in parentheses here. It's 2x, so we're going to be solving for 2x, in other words, to begin with. So the key is to just think of this as the angle. If you want, you could change that and call it theta or something else, but it's not really necessary. So we're going to take our equation, 2 cosine of 2x plus square root of 3 equals 0. And we're going to solve this for, first of all, the cosine of 2x. So we're going to subtract square roots of 3 from both sides to begin with, giving us 2 cosine of 2x equals negative square roots of 3. And then we'll divide both sides by 2 so that we have the cosine of 2x equals negative square roots of 3 over 2. All right. Now, at this point, you might think, well, should I change that cosine of 2x to one of the identities for cosine of 2x? And the answer is no. We're just going to solve for whatever the angle is. And the angle in this particular problem is 2x. So the question is, what angle, right, when you take the cosine of it, will give you negative square roots of 3 over 2? And since we're trying to find all solutions, remember how we do this. We first find the solutions between 0 and 360 degrees. So let's see. If you're not sure what those are, I always do it by drawing a picture. So if I want to draw a picture over here, and I think, where's the cosine going to be negative? That's over in quadrant 3 and 4. So I know it's over here. And let's see, square root of 3 over 2, I think that's going to be this. There's the negative square roots of 3 and then over 2, and then you have to figure out what those angles are. So that angle is 150 degrees, right? And this other one, that's 180 plus another 30, so that's the 210 degrees. So there are two angles in between 0 and 360 degrees. There's always 2 for the cosine, right? 2 for the sine, unless we're just going to get 1 or negative 1, for instance. So what does that tell us? There's two possibilities here. Either 2x can equal 150 degrees, right? This is just in between 0 and 360, or another possibility is 2x can equal 210 degrees. But really, if we were going to list all of them, this would be plus multiples of 360 degrees, where k is an integer. So they're really, for the full solutions, 2x equals 150 degrees plus 360 degrees k, or 2x equals 210 degrees plus 360 degrees k. So I'm going to consolidate that and write that on the next page. All right, so remember we got down to the cosine of 2x equals negative square root of 3 over 2. So either that angle in here, which is 2x, can equal 150 degrees plus 360 degrees k, or 210 degrees plus 360 degrees k. But we don't want to solve for 2x, we want to solve for x. So this means we have to divide both sides of the equation by 2. So we divide the left side by 2 here, and we have to divide each of these terms by 2, and that gives us that it's 75 degrees plus 180 degrees k, or let's do it over here. We also have to divide by 2 for the second possibility. x equals 100, x equals 105 degrees plus, this becomes 180 degrees K. Now it's important that you don't divide by 2 until after you've written this plus 360 degrees K. It's not going to be 75 degrees plus 360 degrees K. You first have to put the first solution, 2x equals 150 degrees plus the 360 degrees K before you divide by 2. So these are the full solutions right here. And so this is how we would write our final answer, x such that x equals 75 degrees plus 180 degrees K, or x equals 105 degrees plus 180 degrees K. So we've done part A. Now what about part B? Part B says to find solutions in the interval 0 to 360. So this is part B. Find solutions, or all values, in the interval 0 to 360 degrees. Okay, so what we have to do is look at the full solutions, and we start writing out the values, the total values, but we're not going to list anything over 360 degrees. Okay, so for part B, all right, so we've got 75 degrees plus 180 degrees K, so 75 degrees, that's going to work, right? So that's a solution. Okay. Now, what would the next one be here? You would add 180 degrees times 1. So what's 75 plus 180 degrees? That's 255 degrees. Is that still less than 360? Yes. So I also get 255 degrees. Now what if I added 180 degrees again? In other words, 180 degrees times 2. So if I add 180 to 255, now I'm over 360. So these are the only two solutions I get from this first part. X equals 75 degrees plus 180 degrees K. Okay, let's look at the second one. It says x is 105 degrees plus 180 degrees K. So one solution is 105 degrees. That's in between 0 and 360. And then if I add 180 to that, what does that give me? 105 plus 180 is 285 degrees. And that's under 360, so I could list that. Now if I add 180 again, right, to this, I'm over 360. So these are solutions in the interval 0 to 360 degrees. Usually what happens is this: if you're solving an angle for 2x, you'll get twice as many solutions as if you just solve for x. All right, so if you're trying to go in the interval from 0 to 360, and normally there are 2 solutions in 0 to 360, if the original problem was 2x, you end up getting 4 solutions, twice as many solutions. This is your Math Gal, Julie Harland. Please visit my website at yourmathgal.com, where all of my videos are organized by topic.